acha, okay. Then why don't you read today?
Okay, I'll read it. In the subliminal, therefore, even enlarged into the cosmic consciousness, we get a greater knowledge, but not the complete and original knowledge. To go farther and see what the knowledge by identity is in its purity, and in what way and to what extent it originates, admits or uses the other powers of knowledge, we have to go beyond the inner mind and life and subtle physical to the two other ends of the subliminal, interrogate the subconscient, and contact or enter into the superconscious. But in the subconscient, all is blind. An obscure universalism, such as is seen in the mass consciousness, an obscure individualism, either abnormal to us or ill-formed and instinctive. Here in the subconscient, a dark knowledge of by identity, such as we find already in the inconscience, is the basis, but it does not reveal itself and its secret. The superior superconscient ranges are based upon the spiritual consciousness, free and luminous, and it is there that we can trace the original power of knowledge and perceive the origin and difference of the two distinct orders, knowledge by identity and separative knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. It's a very small para. We'll go straight to the language itself. So, the subliminal is very clear. Now, it is the inside yourself. In a way of speaking, horizontally, you go into your heart region and go deep into the heart region. It is neither up nor down. It is horizontal. You go into yourself. Okay, that's subliminal. As I told you, we can also picture it like the kitchen garden at the back of your house. If you think of yourself as a house, which is a very interesting image, it does help. So, if you go into the back of your house, there's a kitchen garden, and the kitchen garden, there's no roof. So, no roof is symbolic because you can go to the sky. So, the sky is the entire universe, okay, entire nature. So, if you are going there, all that is available to you. If you're sitting in your house, the roof is not allowing you to see anything up. But when you go out into the back of your house, it allows you to see the entire sky. So that's a subliminal. So subliminal, but it is also joined with the below and the above. It's like this. If you go into, I don't know if you can see my picture, my photograph is there on the screen. You go into, and then if you go up, you go into the superconscious. And when you go down, you go into the subconscious. That's what he's talking about. In the subliminal, therefore, even enlarged into a cosmic consciousness. So when you go into your subliminal, you are in the touch with the universe. And therefore, you have a cosmic consciousness. And remember, cosmic consciousness is of two types. Okay? Inward and outward. Inward, the whole universe is within you. And outward, you are yourself found to be found in everything. In other people, in other objects, everywhere your consciousness is there. That's the cosmic consciousness. So when you go there, so they're saying, we get a greater knowledge, much more than when we are identified with our body, mind, life. But it is not complete, and neither complete nor the original knowledge. The original knowledge is found only in the supermind. Okay, but not the complete either. To go further and to see what knowledge by identity is in its purity, and in what way and to what extent it originates, admits or uses the other powers of knowledge. Now, what are these other powers of knowledge? I'll tell you. The four powers that he's talking about in the supermind are Drishti, Shruti. I'm going to use the English words. Drishti is revelation, sight. Okay, you see the truth. You don't need to think. You just see the truth. And there's also inspiration, which is hearing the truth. The word inspiration is funny. You don't normally associate it with hearing, but Sri Aurobindo uses the word for hearing. So you see the truth, you hear the truth. But you also have the next is the intuition. Intuition is the third power of knowledge. What is intuition? Intuition is getting knowledge without the process of thought. It's just like a drop of light that comes into your mind and you see the thought. Then there's one more, that is discrimination, viveka. Okay? Discrimination is very important because you must be able to distinguish which knowledge is coming to you, but is that knowledge right or wrong? So discrimination is very necessary. So these are the other powers of knowledge. Revelation, drishti, inspiration, shruti, then intuition, knowing of getting knowledge without the process of thought. Okay? And last, discrimination, be able to make out what is the right and what is the wrong knowledge. So these are the four powers. So if you want to know completely the knowledge by identity in its purity, and in its purity, it uses all these four powers of knowledge. Okay? So in what way and what extent is it originate, where is it coming from, where is it complete, admits or uses the other powers of knowledge. We have to go beyond the inner mind and vital, inner mind and life and subtle physical to the two other ends of the subliminal. What are the two other ends of subliminal? As I told you just now, one is the superconscious above and one is the inconscious below. Okay? So inside you have gone and now up there is the superconscious and below there is the subconscious. So you have to examine all these things you're facing. You have to find out where is this identity in its purity which uses these four powers. Okay? But when you go into the subliminal, it's not complete. You may not have discrimination. That's exactly what happens. Okay? I'll tell you. I'll give you an example, then you will understand why discrimination is necessary. There was a gentleman here. He used to be a lifeguard. We didn't have a swimming pool in those days. But even after the swimming pool, children used to go for sea bathing in the tennis ground. Okay? And he was a lifeguard. And he had some experiences. He had entered into subliminal and he had experiences of the vital plane. But that's dangerous because discrimination is not there and you think that you take everything as real because it is so convincing. But discrimination is necessary because sometimes these powers, they mislead you. The universal forces they're good, well-intentioned, and they're also bad intentioned. So sometimes they mislead you. So unless you have a really good sense of discrimination, the fourth aspect of the knowledge, then you can go wrong. So mother, when he told mother that I'm getting these experiences, mother stopped those experiences because she knew that it's dangerous for him. And he used to complain to us. He used to say, oh, mother has taken away all my experiences, not realizing that actually she had saved him. So discrimination is necessary and may not be there, it is not there usually in the subliminal. So if it is incomplete and you don't know knowledge by identity in its fullness, what do? You go down and you look up. When you are looking for something in a room, you go into every corner and start looking. So this is also what you have to do. You have to go down and you have to go up. That's what Swami is saying. Okay? The two other ends of the subliminal, interrogate the subconscious. Interrogate, is using a very interesting word. Use your, find out the truth. Ask questions and find out the truth. Ask questions to yourself about the subconscious. Okay, that's one. And contact or enter into the superconscious. So entering into superconscious is not so easy, but you can contact from the subliminal. That's why Swami is saying contact or enter. So you have to examine both up and down. If you remember, if you read Swami's poem, God's Labor, he is interrogating the subconscious. But in the subconscious, all is blind and obscure universalism, such as is seen in the mass consciousness. Okay? The mass consciousness of the collective. Okay, by the way, that's another thing. What is the mass consciousness? The mass consciousness is the collective consciousness of a nation or a community. Okay? The highest elements are always superior to the average consciousness of the race. Okay, this is what is in mass consciousness. The mass consciousness of a country or a community is always inferior to the highest elements in that particular nation. Okay, it's a very low type of consciousness. An obscure individualism, either abnormal to us or ill-formed and instinctive. So this is the description of the subliminal inconscient or even subconscious. Inconscient is very difficult to enter, so subconscious. Below the subconscious is the inconscient. Here, in the subconscious, a dark knowledge by identity, such as we find already in the inconscious, is the basis. But it does not reveal itself and its secret, because it is dark. So you don't find anything there. It's a room which you get no knowledge, so you go up. Okay. The superior consciousness, the superior superconscient ranges are based upon the spiritual consciousness, free and luminous. And it is there that we can trace the original power of knowledge and perceive the origin and difference of the two distinct orders, knowledge by identity and separative knowledge. When you go into the supreme, the spiritual planes of consciousness, you come to know the difference between knowledge by identity and separative knowledge. We told you already there in the subliminal, it is incomplete. You get glimpses, or it is also separative knowledge also is there, but it is also separative direct knowledge. Remember the four knowledges? One is separative indirect knowledge through the senses. That's our normal way we understand things. Then there is when you go into the spiritual planes of consciousness or even into the subliminal, you get knowledge without the senses. So it is direct, but it is separative. It's not fully identical. But if you are in the cosmic consciousness, which is possible in the subliminal, then you can identify yourself to a certain extent. You can be one with others, and the others can be in you. So, but it is incomplete. Okay, it's not absolutely the top. So for that you have to go up. You have to go up, and there also there are four planes of consciousness: spiritual level, higher mind, element mind, intuitive mind, and finally over mind. But even there is a difference. There is difference between spirit and matter. There is difference between Purusha and Prakriti. You understand a lot, but it's not the Unitarian consciousness. It is not full. It's not the original knowledge by identity, which you can get only in the superman, the last level in the spiritual planes of consciousness. Okay, so that's very simple. So we have discussed it in detail. Now to summarize, I just read quickly what he's saying, then it makes sense. Sometimes you read the summary first, sometimes you read the summary last. Okay, so I'm reading the summary now, then you will understand what he's saying. In the subliminal, even when the cosmic consciousness is attained, the knowledge is greater than in the outer nature and much enlarged. You get much more knowledge. It's great. Still, it is not the pure knowledge by identity. It is mixed with ignorance. In order to go to the absolute pure identity, we have to go to the two extremes of the subliminal. One is the superconscient above, and the other is the subconscient below. But the subconscient below is a dark, blind region. It is massive, semi-conscious, half-formed individuality. We have to go to the superconscient, which is a realm of spiritual light and power and purity, in order to find the source of the knowledge of identity and discover the difference between the identity and the separation, between the knower and the known. This is what he's saying in the Bible. So now he will talk about the superconscient place, where you can get the knowledge. The chapter, if you remember, is knowledge by identity, right? What is the title of the chapter? Knowledge by identity and separating knowledge. So now we can read the next one.
Rangadhar, one question I want to ask. This intuition, the quality of intuition in supramental level, is it the same as that in the intuitive mind?
Yes, it is the same, but what happens is, intuition, when it comes in the mind, we use the word intuition in a very loose manner. Okay, Srivastava is using the word intuition in a very particular plane of consciousness in the spiritual world. Okay, so intuition, when we say, it is normally, it may come from the higher intuitive plane, but when it enters your mind, it's like suddenly a revelation, and you feel, I have an intuition that this will happen. The way we use the word intuition is very vague. Okay? But when Srivastava is using the word intuition, he is very clear that it's a particular plane of consciousness. Okay? It comes into the mind without the process of thought. Now, very good example is the Ramanujam, the mathematician, Indian mathematician whose formulas he used to get directly from the intuitive plane. And he used to note down all those things without the process of thought. He could never prove what he had. But now Srivastava describes intuition. When it comes down, when it enters the normal mind, it is entering an area of darkness. No? Because our mind is dark, semi-dark at least. So when it enters, Srivastava's description is that intuitive substance gets covered over and gets completely absorbed into the darkness. So then we think it's a thought. But sometimes it comes through and you think that it is your thought. So there is a difference between intuition as we understand it normally, in our normal way, but when Srivastava is speaking of intuition, it is coming from there. It does come. There is always guidance from there. But when it comes in, if it comes in pure and clean, and your mind is quite developed and not hazy and unclear, then you can understand there is a knowledge which has come from above. Okay, like Ramanujam used to understand very clearly. He used to say, this is coming from my goddess Saraswati. But the process he may not see, but he knows that it's coming from above. But that you can also explain in two ways, the idea of the discovery of the theory of relativity by Einstein. Clearly, it was an intuition. Okay? But when we speak of intuition, it is the intuition from the higher plane which has got deformed in our mind. But we don't see that process. Okay? That's the thing. Now, again, Archanaji has asked a question, but I don't know if I have answered.
Oh, yes, Ranga, that's clear.
Yeah.
Yes, Ranga,
that's okay. So now we can go to the next one. And who has a text? If Shilpa can read, or Yasmin can read. Yasmin, you have the text?
I don't have the Life Divine. I have the other two books.
Acha. Okay. Then Shilpa can read.
Yes. Shall I?
Yes, you can. So
in the supreme.
Yeah, that's right.
In the supreme timeless existence, as far as we know it by reflection in spiritual experience, existence and consciousness are one. We are accustomed to identify consciousness with certain operations of mentality and sense, and where these are absent or quiescent, we speak of that state of being an unconscious. But consciousness can exist where there are no overt operations, no sign revealing it, even where it is withdrawn from objects and absorbed in pure existence or involved in the appearance of non-existence. It is interesting in being self-existent, not abolished by quiescence, by inaction, by veiling or covering. by inert absorption or involution. It is there is in the being, even when its state seems to be dreamless sleep or a blind trance or an annulment of awareness or an absence. In the supreme timeless status, where consciousness is one with being and immobile, it is not a separate reality, but simply and purely the self awareness inherent in existence. There is no need of knowledge, nor is there any operation of knowledge. Being is self evident to itself. It does not need to look at itself in order to know itself or to learn that it is. But if this is evidently true of pure existence, it is also true of the primal all existence. For just as spiritual self existence is intrinsically aware of itself, so it is intrinsically aware of all that is in its being. This is not by an act of knowledge formulated in a self regard, a self observation, but by the same inherent awareness. It is intrinsically all conscious of all that is by the very fact that all is itself. Thus, conscious of its timeless self existence, the spirit, the being, is aware in the same way, intrinsically, absolutely, totally, without any need of a look or act of knowledge, because it is all of time existence and of all that is in time. This is the essential awareness by identity. If applied to cosmic existence, it would mean an essential self-evident automatic consciousness of universe by the spirit because it is everything and everything in its being.
Okay. And the words can be sometimes confusing, but what we're saying now, so we have gone into the subliminal and we have partial knowledge of things, much more than our normal consciousness, but still it is incomplete. So to get the completeness, if you go down, you draw a zero. So you have to go up into the light. In the darkness, you can know nothing. I'm reading each sentence. I think we can finish it today. In the supreme timeless existence. Now, 3 words. Supreme timeless existence. He is very clearly meaning the spiritual planes of consciousness above the mind. Our mind, above the mind, there are 4 planes, that's spiritual planes of consciousness. Sri Aurobindo also calls it the ideal planes, and they are also used the word spiritual planes. Okay? Supreme timeless existence. So supreme above the mind, timeless because there's no time there. You are in a static condition. Remember, when you are in the Brahman consciousness, there is no time. It is static, immutable, no movement. Okay? And existence. Existence means it's actually a substance. It's a world where there's one substance, and that substance is subtle. Okay? So, in that consciousness, as far as we know it by reflection in spiritual experience. Okay? So, you know the truth, okay, but only by reflection in the spiritual planes. You don't know it by absolutely the real thing, you don't know. You see it as a photograph. Seeing a photograph of New York is one thing, and being in New York is another thing. So, in the spiritual planes of consciousness, it is all only a reflection in the mind. Okay? The reflection becomes a reality only in this supramental world, okay? In the supermind. So, in the supreme timeless existence, as far as we know it by reflection and spiritual experience, existence and consciousness are one. What is it saying? Existence is substance and consciousness is your awareness, but they are one. It's a substance which is conscious of itself. Okay? This is, you can think of it as a stone. Is there a consciousness in the stone? Not in the stone as we know it, but in the spiritual planes of consciousness, yes, this substance is conscious of itself. Okay? So that is Sat. Sat is the substance which is subtlest. And this is so subtle, it's also consciousness mixed in it. There is also, okay, don't make a mistake, there is also power in it, and there is also Ananda in it. But this is what you see, existence and consciousness. We are accustomed to identify consciousness with certain operations of mentality. What it means is we confuse consciousness with awareness, mental awareness. Consciousness is something much more fundamentally larger and more real than awareness. Awareness is very limited, but we confuse the two. Consciousness can be above the mind, then it is not awareness, and it is awareness plus the power 5, 6. Okay, so consciousness and awareness are not the same. We are accustomed to identify consciousness with certain operations of mentality and sense, and where these are absent or quiescent, we speak of that state of being as unconscious, like in sleep. When someone is sleeping, his consciousness is very much there, but in other worlds. Okay, it may be there in the mental world, it may be there in the psychic world, it may be anywhere. It may be in the subliminal, but you think he is unconscious. That is obviously not correct. But consciousness can exist where there are no overt operations. In other words, when you are sleeping, there is consciousness, but no overt operation. An overt operation is something that you can see clearly. Okay, either he is talking to you, or his eyes are open and he is responding to you. He is responding to the environment. There is no such thing. The consciousness is there always, everywhere, at the highest level and the lowest level. Okay. No signs revealing it, even when it is withdrawn from objects and absorbed in pure existence or involved in the appearance of non-existence. So, what does it mean? Pure existence is Sat at the highest level, and appearance of non-existence is inconscient. But there also in the inconscient, consciousness is there 0.0001%. In the pure existence above in the Sat, it is 100%. Okay. But we can say not 100%, but 99.99999%. Why? Because it has got the potentiality of reducing itself. So we can speak of it in that way. So when he's saying pure existence, he's talking of the highest level. And when he's speaking of appearance of non-existence, in the subliminal, in the subconscious or the inconscient, there doesn't seem to be anything at all. It's total darkness. But it is appearance only. That's why they're saying appearance. Okay? It is involved. In both cases, it is involved. Okay. Now, it is intrinsic in being. Intrinsic means inherent. It is certainly, it is part of the being. Okay? Intrinsic. Okay? Self-existent. It doesn't need anything else to exist. Okay? For instance, our self-awareness needs a mind or senses to exist. But there it doesn't need anything at all. It is self-existent. Okay? It is the last. It exists by itself. Swayambhu. It creates itself and exists by itself. Not abolished by quiescence. Okay? So, by quiescence means either in sleep or in trance or by making your mind silent. It doesn't mean to say that the consciousness is not there. It is, in fact, 10 times more. Okay? Not abolished by quiescence, he is talking of the silent mind. Okay? By inaction, by veiling or covering, by inert absorption or involution. So all these, okay, let's look at it carefully. It is self-existent, not abolished by quiescence. He is talking of the Brahmic consciousness. Okay? You have abolished your seeing, your thinking, but consciousness is there. Okay? Or by inaction. When you are sleeping, you are not acting. Okay? But your consciousness is there. By veiling or covering. It's our normal awareness of things. Okay? A normal awareness. You don't know the full reality. It is veiled and covered. This is the normal condition. By inert absorption or involution, he is talking of the last level in the subconscious and inconscious. It is involved. Consciousness is there, but involved and absorbed. The darkness has absorbed the light. Okay. So He is giving you the full range from here. So, first of all, it is self-existent at the highest level. In the next level, in these spiritual planes of consciousness, it is not abolished by poison when you have a silent mind. Your mind is silent, but your consciousness is in the spiritual planes of consciousness, Brahmic consciousness. That also is consciousness. Then, by inaction, you will be sleeping, okay, and you are not acting, but it is there. It could be not necessarily sleep, it can also be trance. Okay. Outwardly, you are not acting. Mother used to go into trance very often. So, the consciousness is very much there. Then it is by veiling or covering. That's our normal, even one step low, below. And even one step below us also is inert absorption or involution. So, inert absorption and involution, it is involved in darkness. The light is there, but involved in darkness. Consciousness is there, involved in inconscience. So he's giving you the whole range. First, highest, then the Brahmic consciousness, then the normal consciousness of man, sleeping and normal consciousness of man, and finally in the inconscient. It is there in the being. I'm reading the next sentence. It is there in the being, even when its state seems to be dreamless sleep or a blind trance or an annulment of awareness or an absence. An annulment of awareness is when you become unconscious, for instance. Okay. Trance is you are fully conscious, but not of the physical world. Okay. Dreamless sleep also is giving you all because consciousness is there everywhere. When you come out of your sleep, you say that I have had no dreams. Actually, you have had dreams, but you have forgotten. Okay. Or blind trance. Trance also is an absorbed state of consciousness where you are fully aware also. There is a difference between trance and sleep. Sleep, you don't remember anything. But trance, when you come out, you remember fully what you have experienced. Or an annulment of awareness or of absence. This is the when you fall unconscious. Okay? Suppose you have had an accident or something and you fall unconscious, annulment of awareness or an absence of awareness. Okay? In the supreme timeless status, so which is the supreme timeless status? Again, the spiritual planes of consciousness. Brahmic consciousness of the self. Okay? In the supreme timeless status, where consciousness is one with being and immobile. So what is the meaning? He's saying consciousness is one with the substance. The being is the substance. And it is immobile, immutable. It is not a separate reality. Consciousness is not a separate reality. At our level, it is separate because the mental awareness and the body is a substance. There is a separation. But simply and purely, the self-awareness inherent in existence. At the highest level, he's saying consciousness and substance are one. That's what he's saying. It's not a separate reality. But simply and purely, self-awareness inherent in existence. When he's using the word existence, I've told you, he is meaning the subtlest of substance. Sat. It's a substance, but it is very, very subtle. Sometimes people have difficulty in understanding this substance. So I usually tell it to them in this way. I tell them, think of a stone or a granite block. Okay? Now, if the granite block, you can understand very easily that it is substance. Right? So now, this substance is conscious of itself. That granite block is conscious of itself. It also has got power. And it can mold itself into anything it wants. It can make a statue out of itself. It can shape itself into a Shiva, or it can be a Vishnu, or even into a Ganesh. It has the power to do that. And while it is doing that, it enjoys what it is doing. This is Satchidananda. Now, transfer the granite block to the subtlest substance. Then you will understand what is meant by this substance is subtle. Okay? There he is saying at the highest level, in the supreme timeless status, consciousness and is one with being and immobile. It is not a separate reality, but simply and purely the self-awareness inherent in existence. The self-awareness is one with substance. There is no need of knowledge nor is there any operation of knowledge. Now, what is meant by knowledge? Knowledge is that which connects the knower to the known. Okay? The knower is me, and everything else in the physical world is to be known. So knowledge connects me with that. But at the highest level, when you are one with everything, where is the question of knowledge? You yourself are the creator of the universe, and you yourself are the universe. So knowledge is eliminated. Knower and known become one. This is God, no? In God, it is He who has created the whole universe, and the whole universe is in Him, and He is in everything. So therefore, there is no knowledge. Knower and known become one. In fact, you can also use the words subject and object become one. At our level, you are the subject, and everything else outside is the object to be known. But at the highest level, subject and object are one. Therefore, knowledge is not necessary. That's what Sri is saying. I think this is very simple to understand. Then he's saying, there is no need of knowledge, nor is there any operation, nor is there any operation of knowledge. Operation of knowledge can be, in the mind it is thought, but above it is other things. Okay? It can be by identity, it can be by intuition, it can be so many. Being is self-evident to itself. Being is the substance is self-evident to itself because it's conscious. It's a conscious substance. It does not need to look at itself in order to know itself or learn that it is. It is fully aware of itself. But if this is evidently true of pure existence, it is also true of the primal all existence. So what's the difference between pure existence and all existence? Pure existence is at the highest level. You can say supermind. To understand. What is all existence? Is a cosmic. Okay. Remember, the divine has got three levels: the transcendent, the cosmic, and the individual. So pure existence is the transcendent, and the all existence is the cosmic, slightly lower level, and the lowest level is the individual. Okay. So there was everything. But if this is evidently true of pure existence, even all existence, this oneness can be there between consciousness and being. That's a cosmic consciousness. For just as spiritual self-existence is intrinsically aware of itself, inherently, it is a power that is there, it has this power. So it is intrinsically aware of all that is in its being. So that's a cosmic consciousness. It knows itself and it knows everything that is in itself. This is not by an act of knowledge formulated in a self-regard, a self-observation, but by the same inherent awareness. So, it is intrinsically all conscious of all that is by the very fact that all is itself. Thus, conscious of its timeless self-existence, when it is in the timeless self-existence, the Brahmic consciousness above, okay? The spirit, the being, is aware in the same way, intrinsically, absolutely, totally. He is describing the knowledge by identity, perfect knowledge by identity. No need of time, no need of knowledge. Knowledge, knower and known become one. That is identity. This thus conscious of its timeless self-existence, the spirit, the being, is aware in the same way, intrinsically, absolutely, totally. In other words, you become God without any need of a look or act of knowledge, because it is all of time existence and of all that is in time. Time existence, the cosmos, and all that is in the cosmos. This is the essential awareness by identity. If applied to cosmic existence, it would mean an essential self-evident automatic consciousness of the universe by the spirit, because it is everything and everything is its being. So, he has described the knowledge by identity which is available only at the highest level, and in the subliminal being, it is not full knowledge by identity. You can have a partial knowledge by identity. This is what you say. So we have to stop today. So, Archanadi, I'll have a look at that passage and I'll get back to you. So,
Thank you, Rajata.
okay, au revoir everybody. Next time,
Let's see.